Thanks.
I'm saying, but you this with that sit in the middle.
Sure.
Oh, so.
Jared, good, are you?
That's fine.
So, I'm always with you guys, I know, yeah, I've only seen her because that once when I'm here, I lived on the Ross, so I fancy myself so about your story. And that's one, worked here, last name, Rutland, Florida.
Yes.
Is that her married name? Oh, she originally wrote back. So you had come back. Wow.
She is from,
Her mom, so we had to be with that. Yeah.
and she came over here for college.
So you must be a descendant of the czar. And Alexander died.
Oh, wow, never, guess I never put that together.
Yeah, well, as soon as I saw her name when I was here, it said Romanov. Oh my gosh. Never met a Romanov in the United States, so. We're a connection
I
or.
don't know. Jared, have you ever put that connection together with Pennsylvania?
I'm sorry, I missed.
Her last name? And the,
Czar, the last czar. Nicholas.
I know.
You have royalty in our city.
I think I might see.
Yeah.
it. Yeah, she's. Whatever, and. The court is trying to stand or something, so, no, so the first big group of other girls that are trying to do there. At the,
My
at
God,
the
at the
place,
play.
but they had food trucks outside, and, I
They
mean,
had a big old party.
oh, yeah.
We love people.
Oh, did you?
Yeah,
Oh.
now we're at.
Good. How are you? I'm good, you? Feeling good, I think. Yeah, like,
But there was all.
everything good?
I mean, it was like a big old reunion, which my wife, you know, went to school with.
Yeah.
We can get started, then, you want to start?
So, I mean, I know, I know.
Got things to do, Dave.
Other, showing unity.
My day's been already.
It's funny.
I haven't done something,
No
I've been meeting on.
more, volleyball acquaintances and this.
Isn't it amazing when you come back after Christmas break, how the host just gets turned on?
Even my, so Angel's first cousin.
Yeah.
A couple of new employees in my group, and I was trying to explain to it.
First slump,
And.
but her first cousin.
Shelley group, that's right.
The chambers, is their mom.
Doug, make sure you get one of those tablets.
But anyway,
Yeah.
like her,
Did you get
first cousin that we know. in that-
Make sure you get some.
Going in.
And I'll- If they started like.
Yeah.
Everybody here. I'm saying both, like.
Yeah, there's something.
But anyway, he's there at five. She's young.
Well, we're not playing.
That's
It was kind of.
Well, they're probably around.
Yeah.
It's like, well, other, like they say, the ice cream was funding for, the, it's just like the. And then the,
What's the?
bond.
Yeah, I'm old school when it comes to trees.
No, you're good.
My, our biologist that, manages rough grouse and bobwhite quail, they want trees cut down, it's good habitat.
Oh, yeah.
So when I go someplace and, like a man, restroom, and they've got the dryer vent in there, I'll take a picture and I'll send it to them.
My God, I was being.
You know, these guys are helping you out with your habitat management.
And then, but.
You're welcome.
You're
welcome.
Keith,
Thanks, Brian.
can you hear us okay on there?
And usually if you.
Yeah. Keith, can you hear us?
For the parking lot?
Parking lot and.
Thumbs up, yes.
Or.
Playground. I was gonna do that.
That looks like
Good
almost
Lord.
300,000.
Yeah. Keith, can you hear us?
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and kick off this meeting. This is the Tuesday, January 13th, 2026. KIPDA Regional Planning Council meeting. And welcome everybody. Happy New Year. Hope everybody had a great Christmas. And we just talked a minute ago, it feels like that's been a month already or longer ago, right? It's only been a few weeks, so. Welcome to 2026. Our first item will be to do a council roll call, and Ryan's gonna take care of that for us today.
Honorable Jerry Summers. Mr. Charlie Spalding. Mr. Keith Griffey.
Here.
Honorable Scott Bates.
Here.
Mr. Jason Stanley.
Here.
Mr. Mike Ray.
Here.
Mr. Brian Davis. Mr. Tony Parrott. Mr. Mike King. Honorable David Vogel. Mr. Ryan Fisher. Miss Anna Barge.
Here.
Honorable Dan Isom. Mr. Ryan Limpy.
Here.
Mr. Lawrence Blackaby. Honorable Scott Travis. Miss Julie Sweezy. Honorable John Ogburn. Mayor Joe Robinson. And Miss Zoe Kemper.
All right, thank you, Ryan. We do have 4 counties represented. We have Oldham, Henry, Trimble, or not Trimble, my bad, Bullitt and Shelby. So we have 4 of the counties that are represented today, so we have a quorum. First item, or our next item on the agenda is our minutes from the July 8th, 2025 meeting. As you all know, we did not meet in October, so welcome back. And you should have received those in your email and your invite. Have you had a chance to review those? Does anybody have any comments or changes? If not, then we'll entertain a motion to approve. So moved. We have a motion by Judge Bates,
I'll second.
second by Ms. Barge. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the minutes are approved. All right, well, today we've got a guest speaker, Mr. Brian Blank. He's with the, or he's the Director of Community Outreach with the Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife. And I'm gonna turn it over to you. Welcome.
Thanks, Ryan.
Floor is yours. We have an engaged audience, it looks like, so.
Appreciate it.
It's all you.
You guys are like a law firm, Ryan and Ryan. Is that right?
Right, right,
Now, am I
right.
allowed to stand and walk?
Yes, sir.
Do I need to be in one spot?
Oh,
Okay.
Whatever you feel comfortable.
Well, thanks a lot for inviting me. I know how precious everyone's time is, especially this time of the year. Because it's like the faucet gets turned on. We were just talking about that. I had a meeting the other day and I was just on the side. I wasn't the formal presenter, but met with some state legislators and with the budget and everything that's going on right now, man, they're up on their toes right now. So we keep them in our positive thoughts and hopefully that they'll make good decisions. And I know those of you all who support them and those of you all who are other positions around counties and in the fiscal courts have a lot of stuff to do. So what I wanted to do when Ryan invited me in, I wanted to give a little general background on the agency and some of the things we do, who we are, what we do, how we're funded. And then I thought I would throw some things in that I thought might be of particular interest to this group and this body. So hopefully we'll hit that. This is my wife, Tina. We live in Mercer County and we have 2 daughters. Our oldest is married and lives in Nelson County and loves critters and is doing well. And then our youngest is a sophomore in college in New York City. So she loves it. She does well. We don't know how in the world she developed that love and appreciation coming from rural Mercer County, but she loves it up there. I hate going up there, but you know what you do when it's your kids. So we're proud of both of them. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention our Commissioner, Rich Storm. And I don't mention Rich just because of the title and the position. I mention Rich because in the 16 years that I've been with the agency, I've never had a more responsive, more ethical, more concerned about the resources and the people that enjoy the resources than Rich. So I'm truly blessed to be able to work with such a quality person, very family oriented person. That's one of his daughters. And they love the outdoors, and I love spending time with them, and fortunate that, you know, you have people that you work with who you would love to go out and do things with and have dinner with, so truly blessed. Most of you are aware, as we jump into this, we have a law enforcement division. We're responsible for 120 counties, and they have full law enforcement responsibilities. Sometimes they might be the only one on in a county to go to, whether it's a domestic call, or you may see them along the highway with their lights on because somebody was broken down. They're just rendering assistance. They're probably not pulling people over for speeding or anything like that. That's not something we do. We primarily enforce the game laws in the state, but we do a lot of other things to assist other law enforcement agencies and law enforcement folks. They talk about a brotherhood, and you guys know this who have sheriffs and work with KSP and your local law enforcement guys. They really are thick, and they take care of each other. They're really a neat group, and they're unfortunately when there's natural disasters, especially recently with tornadoes and the bad flooding a few years back in eastern Kentucky, which was just devastating. Because of our folks' training, our game wardens training, and the equipment that we have, fortunately or unfortunately, of the 31 bodies that were recovered, our law enforcement guys recovered 28. And so when you read in the newspaper, there's a drowning on a lake, you're like, wow, that's really too bad. It's sad, it's terrible. Our guys are dealing with that. So they very much are involved. And there are times when I don't know how they do what they do and come back to work every day, but they're amazing. Department funding, just to give it a little bit of background on that, we don't take any state taxpayers' dollars. We're totally funded through license revenue, motorboat registrations, and then the Federal Sport Fish and Wildlife Restoration Fund, which is a really cool program that came about back during the Depression. So during the Depression, with all of that was going on, state government, federal government, the industry of fishing and hunting companies and sportsmen realized, you know what, this thing can go away. We can shoot so many buffalo, there's hardly any left. We can, like in Kentucky, we can wipe out the bear population. We can wipe out the elk population. We can wipe out the deer population. We can wipe out the turkey population. So these people had the foresight back then to get together, and all the manufacturers that produce fishing, hunting, archery equipment, they self-imposed a tax on themselves. The IRS collects that money. It goes into a fund, and every 2 years, based on the amount of land that you have and water that you have where people can in public can go use the resources and the amount of fishing and hunting licenses you sell, you get a portion of that. And then that money is what we use to teach hunter ed, to pay our law enforcement folks to be law enforcement officers. When you see projects around the state, like some of our philo projects, which we're going to talk about, a lot of that funding is coming straight from the user. So we refer to our customers, as customers, but that Sport Fish Restoration Fund has provided billions and billions of dollars over the years to states. And it's a really good plan. And occasionally we get people, when we buy land, sometimes depending on the funding and the source on how we buy the land, that limits the use on it. We have wildlife management areas out there where it's not, we would lose our funding, or when we bought the land, it was stipulated, there will be no mountain biking. There will be no horseback riding. So some of the wildlife management areas that we have restrictions like that. Not because we put them on there, but because when the funds came to us, that was part of the restrictions. So I always talk to, especially in Kentucky, and I don't want to sound like I'm putting down my horse people friends, but they always want to ride on all of our wildlife management areas. And I'm like, why? Here's the model. Tax saddles, tax feed, have the industry pull these resources together and then, go use that money like we've done. So just food for thought, but that's how we're funded. There's the Wildlife and Sport Fish Restoration Fund. And like I said, it's a collaboration. The funding is good. It's also protected. So when that comes to us, it's protected federally. So if somebody, and usually every 3 or 4 years, somebody in state government says, look, they got this clump of money over there, let's go get it. And, you know, we have to defend it, and we have to say, well, if you take it, we could lose it forever, so. That's the way that goes. This is the part, if we can,
Okay.
I just want to show you a quick video, and it kind of is a better summation than what I can give you.
The mission of the Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife is to conserve, protect, and enhance the Commonwealth's fish and wildlife resources and provide outstanding opportunities for hunting, fishing, trapping, boating, shooting sports, wildlife viewing, and related activities. We're proud to share some highlights of the department's many accomplishments in 2024, made possible due to the direct support from our customers and many partners. We stocked 4.5 million fish in public waters to sustain and enhance fishing opportunities. Recycled 4,000 natural Christmas trees to provide fish habitat in public waterways. Enhanced trophy fish and master angler award programs to applicants who catch qualifying fish in Kentucky waters. Expanded the experimental commercial fishing program to harvest and remove more invasive carp from Kentucky's public waters. Secured 73,000 acres of new public access for hunting, fishing, and wildlife watching. Improved 9,400 acres of wildlife habitat on public land and private lands using prescribed burning to foster native plants and fight invasive plants. Protected nearly 1,000 acres of land through our wetland and stream mitigation program, improving wildlife habitat and providing long-term environmental benefits to all Kentuckians. Constructed and rebuilt boat ramps, docks, parking lots, and access roads to improve hunting and fishing access to public lands and water. Welcome 42,000 visitors to Salado Wildlife Education Center and opened a new exhibit that highlights the positive benefits that hunting contributes to participants' health and wellness, to conservation, and to society at large. And many staff were recognized with numerous state and national awards for outstanding work. These accomplishments represent a wide array of department efforts that support participation of more than 2 million anglers, hunters, boaters, and wildlife watchers. Together, these recreationalists had an economic impact totaling $8.7 billion in the Commonwealth as a result of their outdoor excursions. Yet our work is far from over. In 2025, our promise is to continue striving to fulfill our mission of serving people and serving fish and wildlife.
Thanks, Ryan. That's always 50% of the success of my presentation when the video plays. By the way, my cards back there, if there's any activities that we do and you guys want to join us and go participate, if you want to go on a prescribed fire, if you want to go out when we're shocking a body of water and doing research on the fish populations, if you want to go out with our deer biologist, like we'll be coming up here in a couple months, we'll go out and we can harvest some deer from different wildlife management areas, and we do all kinds of research on them. One of the things that we do is we do tick. We see what their tick population is and what they're doing. And I can tell you, from working where I work, the last 12 years, the tick population has exploded, not just in terms of the amount of ticks, but the type of ticks. So just a general announcement, public service announcement, make sure you spray down with permethrin before you go outdoors, protect your clothing, check yourselves, because the tick world is real in Kentucky. We used to not have to worry about like Lone Star ticks and Lyme disease and all the alpha-gal, all the stuff that comes along with it. And it's kind of a big deal. One of the caveats that you all get by being here today is the license fees will increase the 16th of this year. We are matching our license fees now up for the very first time with CPI. So every 2 years, we'll evaluate CPI, and then that'll influence, our license fees. We're guessing it's probably gonna hit around 5.7 this year with, in terms of a 5.7% increase. It's kind of interesting this year because October with the government shutdown, they didn't do CPI. So we should have that number here in the next day or two. But if you are someone who buys a fishing license or a hunting license or has friends or family that do it, you could be the really good friend and say, you wanna buy this, but, on the 15th, because at midnight on the 16th, they pop up probably about 5.7%. And one of the things that's done is every 8, 9 years, we'd have to go over and ask the legislature for fee increases because, costs go up, payroll goes up, your commitments go up. And it put legislators in a bad spot. We had to use a lot of political goodwill, and we've been kicking around this idea for like 15 years. And we finally got this thing done last year, and I think it's a much more responsible way to do, license fees. And there's a couple other agencies and there's a couple other, fee-based programs out there that are also exploring CPI. So maybe the wave of the future, but just to give you a heads up on that. Some cool stuff in terms of like a lot of times in your all's situation, people want information. How do I get this information? Like if I'm on my way to the lake, or I want to figure out where's there a Finns Lake in the Louisville metro area? We have about 52 Finns Lakes. Those are lakes that we aggressively stop in urban areas. And in Louisville, you can literally take the TARC bus with your fishing rod and reel and go fish one of these lakes. We want you to catch fish. We want you to keep them. We want you to take them home and eat them. Those bodies of water, we average about 5,000 fish per acre that we stop. The only bad thing is, if you go to one of those Finns Lake and you don't catch fish, you feel pretty bad because it's probably one of the easiest places to catch fish. But when we started this program, like 17 years ago, we saw double-digit license increases in terms of our volume of sales around these Finns Lakes. So they're awesome. There's like 6 or 7 in the Louisville metro area. So if you download our Fish Boat app or our Deer and Elk app, that you will have everything in one spot. And so you can get on our website, you can cash your license there. So you could be out in the middle of Pine Mountain and one of our guys could check you. You'd have your license saved on that. So it took us 7 years to get them done. But we finally got it done like 2 years ago. So in that aspect of the world, we're no longer in the 80s. We've now at least come up to the 90s. But I would recommend downloading, our app. It's a lot of good information. This is Jacob Stewart. He hated that I used him for this. He is our private lands biologist in charge of 17 employees that we have. And all you have to do is go online or call us and you fill out a form, and Jacob and his folks will come out to your property and they will do an assessment free of charge. They'll pull down your Google Maps. They'll look at the land ahead of time. They'll walk the land, they'll ride on your ATV, they'll drive with a truck, and they'll say, what are your goals? You want more pollinator habitat for bees and butterflies? We'll help you do that. You want to have more native grasses on your property so you can attract, different types of wildlife? We do that. We'll help you in terms of what do I need to do to manage my timber? There's a lot of people that have unbelievable timber on their property, and they think the best thing to do is just leave it and let it sit. And what happens is it devalues, they don't get to harvest it, and it's not as good for wildlife and it's not as good for the landowners. So our technical guidance folks are glad to do it. Again, we have 17 around the state. So any of your constituents or anybody that is interested in improving their habitat, we have a really cool program for that. And I will tell you, I have friends from the industry that do that professionally. And for a lot of them, it's a minimum of $5 to $8 grand before they'll even walk on your property to do that assessment. So again, through our funding, by buying sports license, or by buying fishing and hunting licenses, we're allowed, we pay our guys to go out and provide that service for free. And again, the other motivation for us is 97% to almost 98% of the land in Kentucky, which I'm not telling you that you all don't know, is privately held. So we have to work with landowners. We have to have those partnerships, or we won't be able to maintain the healthy populations of wildlife that we have now. I always throw this QR code up there. It'll get you to anything you need from our agency. You need to find out a biologist in your area. Maybe you've got public lands on your area and you got problems with trespassing, or you've got problems with water quality. Our guys, we have public land folks, we have private land folks, and we'll partner with you on getting you in touch with the right people that can take those actions. Everybody good with that? Oh, sorry, did you?
No, there,
You sure?
for sure.
All right. And my card's back here too. Little more background stuff. People don't understand about us sometimes. We help facilitate 120 dove fields across the state. Dove hunting is the very first season that opens every year. It's great to socialize. If you've never been on a dove hunt, I would encourage you to go. Even if you don't hunt, there's usually good food and good fellowship. And it's a great way to start the new hunting season. If you've never had dove poppers, you're missing out. They're awesome on a grill. A lot of people don't realize this, but we have more nesting pairs of bald eagles in Kentucky now than when Daniel Boone walked through Cumberland Gap. Mostly it's because of the way the habitat use has changed, but also once we eliminated DDT back in the day, that really allowed the bald eagles to come back. And I'm sure a lot of you have experienced that, where you go to places and you're like, oh, that looks like a bald eagle. It's like, yeah, it probably is. Maybe in places where you've never seen it before. And so we manage all the wildlife. We help manage all the wildlife, whether it's bats, butterflies, songbirds, or whether it's the critters that we trap and hunt and fish for. Again, we talk about prescribed fire. Prescribed fire is an unbelievable tool. A lot of people who know their Kentucky Native American history, the Native Americans would lay prescribed fire to the ground all the time to improve habitat and help the game. The East Kentucky Habitat Initiative, because there's not a lot of coal mining going on anymore in Eastern Kentucky, when they would mine, they would create habitat when they would rehab the land, to get their bonds back. It provided excellent habitat, especially for elk. So we've now had to go in and do a lot of work on our own and partner with folks to provide habitat down in the eastern part of Kentucky, because the mining's not going on anymore down there. And if you guys have any questions along the way, just yell. Paddle sports. This is a huge opportunity for all of us in this room. Huge opportunity. I mean, where else can you get up at Saturday morning at 8 o'clock? You could go to Tractor Supply, you could go to Dick's Sporting Goods. Heck, I've even seen them at Kroger's. You can buy a kayak, couple little rubber holders you throw on top of your Volkswagen, you get a life vest and a paddle, and you're outdoors. There's no gas, there's no maintenance. Man, paddle sports has exploded in our state. And I'm really happy that I'm serving on a committee over with the Bluegrass and to open up the Kentucky River and get it certified as an official waterway through the National Park Service. I see some of you guys nodding. Yeah, Ohio just got theirs certified. It's really good. It'll help us more efficiently keep the river clean, and it also brings a lot of revenue, and it really allows us to promote a lot of other things in our state. But that initiative is pretty big. We're excited about it. In Kentucky, we don't charge for, if you buy a kayak, you don't have to register it. We're working on that. But our friends up north in Ohio, who we share a lot of information with, look at the jump they had. My laser pointer's not working, but under Ohio paddling participation, look from 2015, from 162,000 vessels to in 2024, 280,000. And they charge $25 a vessel to register in Ohio. And that's just canoes, kayaks, stand-up paddling and rafts. That's not motorboats.
Is that
So-
an-
Pardon me?
is that annually?
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
Can I say something?
sure.
I think it would be great because they come in and they block all the boat ramps where the boaters is paying their license fee can't get in, so let them pay a little part of theirs too. That's just stuff that I see at a boat ramp a lot of times where there's no place to park because all the kayakers showed up and they didn't pay no taxes.
Judge, you're 100% accurate. I mean, that happens a lot. And one of the things that we would do with this money is open up more, put in and takeouts.
Mhm.
And I don't know if you experienced it in your county, but in a number of counties now, especially along the Kentucky River, the counties are inheriting FEMA land. And you're like, okay, what can we and can't we do with this? Well, and most of them, put in and takeouts for canoes and kayaks and some gravel, is a great thing that they can do with that. So there's definitely opportunity. We just have to identify places where we could potentially do it and then, work with us. And to your point, the motorboat, the guys that register their boats and everything, we're mandated that the majority of the portion of that has to go towards boat ramps for motorboats. And there's only a small percentage that we can use for the paddle sports folks. So we've got to figure out, a way to do this to get them to invest back in the resource. But it's like when you want to add a fee to something.
Absolutely. Trust me.
Especially, yeah. You want to help us do it?
You ain't getting me in. I'm gonna publish, so maybe I could.
Yeah. I'm just kidding. Yeah, it's not easy, but that's something that really we need to educate more people about. And most user groups are like, you know what, hey, we'll pay our fair share. So we've got to figure out a way to do that. And we're not one that likes to mandate and force people. We want them to come to us and be like, you know what, we'll help support you on this. Because we know you're gonna put this money to, expanding access and we wanna grow opportunity. So I think we'll get there. I just don't think this year with the budget, we're gonna get it there. That was kind of my job, was to go out and be like the first pioneer through the woods, talking to some legislators, and I can tell you, there's a lot of arrows. The pioneers, the first guy out, the pioneer's always the one that takes the arrows, but I took a lot of arrows out of the back. I said, yeah, fellas, I wouldn't bring this one up. I'd let this one go this year, but we'll work on it. All right, license fees we already talked about. Blue water trails. Anybody familiar with our blue water trails? If you go on our website, okay, good, thanks. We have one person that does all this mapping and goes out. As a matter of fact, I can't remember which county, where's the Kennekeek River, Kennekeek Creek, anybody know where that is? But that judge executive just inherited a bunch of FEMA land. And Lee McClellan, who does our blue water trails, actually went out and paddled that with them. And they picked out some spots where we're gonna partner with them and do some cost share to have some access points expanded. So the blue water trails are a big deal. And a lot of this is along the Kentucky River. So one of the requirements for us to get the Kentucky River certified as a national waterway is to have these maps. So, and the other cool thing is we can get certain sections certified. We don't have to get the whole river certified at once. So if you have Kentucky River in your county and there's opportunities, come see me and let's talk. That's a big initiative. We already went over department funding. Special accommodations. We've built some of these mobility impaired access. Lake Reba was one of the first ones we built. We went there just to see it after it opened. And there was a military veteran that was there. And he said that this was the first totally independent thing he had been able to do since he came out of Walter Reed from his rehab, from his injuries, serving in the military. And he was able to put the wheelchair down, drag his canoe and kayak, and put it on here and launch it. And here's one of our places where we do that. And you can totally launch the kayak, and it's got a crank and it turns and it puts you in the water. And I'm gonna tell you, when that guy told us that, we were like, all right, we're doing more of these. Cause we just did them because some other states said, hey, you ought to put a few of these in. Well, when you talk to a real person, you guys know this is what you do. Man, we were like, we gotta do some more of these. It's pretty cool. Our voting access program, if you all have areas where you maybe have easements, or you think there's the opportunity to purchase some property, we have limitations, state government, but if there's the ability to purchase the land and co-op with local government, we're always looking to put, more ramps in. And again, it's a big deal. We have right now we have about 3 engineering crews that go out and do this. We also contract with some people, but, just reach out to us, let us know. And these are things that we love to do. Access and opportunity. We currently are responsible for 172 boat ramps across the state. And as most of you know, last Valentine's weekend, it started raining. And it didn't stop until like June. And we had, I think, 87 or 88 ramps that we had to go in and physically do work to, because of all the high water and the flooding. And I'm not telling you anything you guys don't know, because I'm sure you ran into it in your world with other things, but, hopefully this year we'll get a little more steady weather. But if you know of opportunities like this, reach out to us and let us know. And we'll try to partner with you on this. Here's just one, we did recently over in Anderson County. And, I love this because whenever we need to upgrade pictures, I always invite the Aubrey over for pictures. He's got the coolest, most redneck looking truck that you'll ever see. So I try to get Aubrey out to drive that truck. It's really cool. But this has been a huge success over in Anderson County at Beaver Lake. A lot of times, like if Taylorsville's blown out and it's flooded, guys can run over to Beaver Lake, and you'll find that with these areas. Again, information. Last year, we had one big Facebook page and one big agency, Instagram page. And we were like, you know what, why would somebody who fishes Lake Cumberland really need information about Kentucky Lake or Barkley Lake or what's going on at the falls on the Ohio? So we decided to consolidate, regionalize, and as you can see, Jefferson, Jessamine, most of you all are gonna fall in the bluegrass region. So if you get a chance, I'd encourage you to follow that on your social media pages, encourage your constituents and your followers. And we've got 5 different regions, and it really does make sense. Like, let's say you're gonna go over to Taylorsville and fish, and we've gotta do work on a ramp. You might be gonna go on Van Mooven and you open it up and you're like, oh, Van Mooven ramp is closed, so I'll go over and launch from Cox's Creek. So that information is really good. You may go on there and see that there's 154 boat tournament launching from someplace, and you'll be like, oof, I don't want to get caught up in that mess. Kind of like what the judge was talking about with the kayakers. So the other thing is, this is my last slide, and I'll take any questions, but we love going to shows and events. So Louisville Boat Show's coming up. We want you to get outdoors, but this time of the year, we like to bring the great outdoors indoors, is what we say. So Louisville Boat Show is the 28th to February 1st. We'd love to see you out there. Come visit us, buy some swag. Western Kentucky Boat Show is coming up the 23rd through the 25th. I will also add on the Louisville show, if you have anybody that wants to take the boater education course, you can do that online, or we actually do live boater education courses at the Louisville Boat Show. So if you have anybody, especially somebody who's 12 and under, and they want to operate the boat, they have to have that certification, and it's just a good course to take. So Louisville Boat Show will have that. Lexington Boat Show, we'll have a boater ad over there. And the great thing is, as a Louisville Cardinals fan, I think we're gonna have plenty of people at the Lexington Boat Show this year, because I don't think they're gonna be distracted by the basketball team.
Holy.
That's cool. All right. Again, I know how precious your time is. I know how busy you are this time of the year. I want to thank Ryan for bringing me in. And I'm open to questions, and I'm here if you need me.
Brian,
You're welcome.
anybody got any questions?
I got a quick
Comments?
question. In regards to, your team that does the land studies for the private homeowners, I can think of a couple examples where maybe we've had like a project with grant money where like the budget's kind of tight, that's for like a park or something in a municipality or county. Do you all ever work with like government agencies on that, or is it strictly for private landowners?
We have private and public, and they kind of overlap, so, yeah, let me know, and if you've got those opportunities, we definitely, because we're all about putting the right habitat on the ground, so. I'm confident in saying, well, we may have to be a little creative, but we can probably figure out a way to do that.
Like if somebody was looking to make some improvements to a park or set up a new park and they wanted to maybe integrate some of those habitat improvements or something like that, like you'll
Yes.
be a good resource for.
Yeah, we'd be glad that, and sometimes like people will have bodies of water on a park. And there's elevation above the body of water, and they're talking about putting a parking lot in there. Because they need it for baseball fields, soccer fields, whatever, I mean, it just happens. Sometimes it's advisable to put gravel as opposed to put blacktop because of erosion and runoff and a lot of those things that you guys know about, so. We can help with those types of things also, but yeah, with anything, we have different folks, like I said, public lands folks and private folks, and sometimes they'll work together, but yes, that's what we're here for,
Okay.
yeah. We just did one, Rowan County, they just picked up, like 300, 400 acres of what was that app harvest project over there. And, they're putting a county park in over there, and they had 2 ponds, and we went over and assessed them. One pond wasn't so good, the other pond was really, really good. And, so we're gonna turn one of those into a Finns Lake, which we'll probably start stocking in February, so. If you guys are acquiring land, or if you already have land, and you're like, hey, we got a lake over there that could have public access, yeah, call us. We'll send people out, take a look.
Yeah, Oldham County just acquired like hundreds of acres of land for Stewart Park. I don't think it has a lake on it. I think it just butts up against Harrods Creek. But just for that like habitat, because I mean, it's like pretty much completely undeveloped area.
Yeah, take my card and reach out to me, and, it seems like there's a lot of effort going into Harrods Creek right now.
Yeah, I'm not the person to speak on that because I don't really know about a lot of it. So, but like we have a few different people for the county that work on that kind of stuff, so.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, shoot me an email and I'll put my team together and we can figure out the best way to attack that, because yeah, anything we can do to improve quality of water,
Yeah.
we're all about that, whether it's, stormwater management. And then I should mention our philo program. If you have an area that's open to the public and you've got a lot of erosion, or you've got runoff and you've got, you're losing bank, whether it's private or public, reach out to us, because that fees in lieu of program, for example, when, if you all familiar, a few years back, Amazon built a huge facility up in northern Kentucky so that the planes could land at the airport, taxi over, they could load. They bought 1,000 acres and put like 900 acres under roof. They have to pay an impact fee because they impacted water and they impacted forest. That money is collected by us, the contractors pay it up front, and then that money has to go back into that district. So the state's divided up into different conservation districts, and that money's has gone back, and unfortunately, in northern Kentucky, they're realizing they've developed so fast and so much, they really and truly are running out of green space, and they're kind of panicking up there. I grew up in Baltimore, so I saw it in Maryland, and then I moved to Pittsburgh, and I saw it in Western PA, and now I'm down here, I'm like, dang, we just don't learn. And when it's too late, then it was like, oh, we gotta try to find green space, well, we probably should have planned better, but everybody does it, it's not a knock on anybody, just the way it works.
All right, any other comments or?
Yeah, my question with, how does your organization interface with NRCS, I guess more of a federal? Are there
Yeah.
programs you do together? Are there things that you coordinate together?
We coordinate a lot, and they love our people, because they love hiring our people.
Okay.
But yeah, no, NRCS, I'm pretty sure was the organization that helped bring a lot of the resources together, including the funding for us to do that 50,000 acre easement down in eastern Kentucky. I mean, what state agencies are out there, getting easements or acquiring 50-something thousand acres in 2025? I mean, and we could have never done that on our own. We like that area, we love that area, and we wanted, but NRCS are the ones that, they're the ones who carry the water on that one. But yeah, we have a great partnership with them, and, Teddy Roosevelt, there's a number of groups, and then all the way down to like your conservation groups, like your National Wild Turkey Federation, Rocky Mountain Health. Again, we're just one agency that kind of helps pull different resources together, but we can't do it on our own. But yeah, NRCS is a great partner. You do work with them?
No, but just NRCS has a lot of conservation items that they have going on that may be just for water specifically or
Yeah.
erosion, but then also for wildlife habitat as well.
Oh, yeah.
So I wasn't sure how the two work together, but I can see where it'd be great that they do work together.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
All right, well, thank you, Brian.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
all the information. It's
Thank
very
you.
informative. You're more than welcome to stick around and.
Yeah,
let's
I'll
do
hang
it while we're finishing up. We'll try to knock this out in 15 minutes. Right? Okay.
Right.
All right, so our next item on our agenda is the KIPDA updates. Staff, right?
Yeah, I just have one quick thing kind of for this year. It's gonna be going on pretty much all year. We're doing our big update to our regional hazard mitigation plan. This year, it's gonna be due in early 2027, in like mid-January 2027. So just kind of wanted to put that on your all's radar. You might be hearing from me at some point throughout the year. Maybe requesting your attendance at any meetings we might have, and just getting some of your all's input on some hazard mitigation items, for this year, just to kind of update all of our priorities and make sure we capture, everything that we can for that plan, so. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got.
All right,
Just-
no, Nick.
Yeah, I got one for transportation. The I-65 Central Corridor project is gonna close a portion of Interstate 65 in Louisville, between the Waterston Expressway and Muhammad Ali Boulevard. They're gonna replace or rehabilitate at least 6 bridges. The complete closure is expected to be in June and July this year, with I-65 reopening to limited traffic in August. Work's gonna continue though into mid-2027 with some off-peak closures and periodic impacts. The suggested detour at that time is gonna be via Interstate 64 and the Waterston Expressway. At least they're doing it after Derby, so.
Yeah, fun times. Fun times. Justin, you got anything?
I don't really have much to add on, dude.
All right,
I
Alicia?
have two things, Land and Water and Recreational Trail Program, the grant application should open beginning of March. So if you have any, rec trail projects or any park projects that you would like to seek funding for, reach out to me. And then second is we usually do the Planning Commission and Board of Adjustment training every 2 years, so that should be this year, 2026. We have been requested to have it earlier in the year. Do you have a need for your planning commissioners to be trained?
We all,
Okay,
I mean, even if they're
I know
up
some of
to
them
date, we
had
like it.
a lot of newer members, and that's why, cause I think you have to have so many hours.
We have a lot of new members, we've had a lot of turnover on the
Okay.
planning commission the past 6 months.
Okay,
So
So
there's
I
no
will-
such thing as too much planning. Oh, people's terms expire.
right. So, I think we usually do that in October. I think I'm gonna try to plan that, hopefully.
Always confuse that.
Yeah,
There's
so-
not enough of, I don't think.
Yeah.
How about you?
Yeah, oh, yeah, we could use.
With the new KRS, the revision, they have to have how many hours before they're actually on?
No, it's actually, okay, so we had this discussion
Okay.
extensively with multiple attorneys and maybe Keiko recommendation, I can't remember, but it's actually not before they join. We thought it was before, which was kind of crazy.
Yeah,
The wording is weird. It's like within their first year, I think, they have to get that training, but it's
Okay.
worded to make you think it's before they join. And it was like 4 hours or something.
well, that's
before
where
they
they Triple
get-
County, cause he has two positions that he needs to appoint, but they needed training.
Yeah.
He thought it was before, that's good,
Yeah.
I'll let him know.
Yeah, cause you can put them in contact with me and I'll put them in contact or send them whatever was
Okay.
collaborated by our county attorney and the city attorney, you know, people that are more educated than that. So, all that legal, fun stuff.
And again, I think I'm gonna have Brian Davis from Louisville Metro, before I do that training, that they did great last time.
They did, for the medical camp.
Brian.
Too many of us out there.
That's right. So I'll send that information out as soon as I have it.
So what, I wanna say something about the training though, what helped us is going to those trainings, they said we can. You know, give them our comprehensive plan, everything, and they can read it, and we can give them their hours off of that.
Yes.
Yes.
So that's
yes.
how I stay compliant, but I like these trainings so they can get. You know,
Yes.
more diverse.
Well, and that's what I always did, especially for the members that have been there for a long time, like, you know, I know I got a lot of information from Ryan, but. When you get your planning magazines or an article, send it out to them, give them an hour, you know, if they read that, that's an hour of training.
So that's why I'm saying, we're up to date, but it's
Yeah.
always good to have, I
More.
think, something like that.
Yeah.
Is there any things that you all wanna focus on that I can tell them, any topics that you think data centers?
People crazy over them.
Any hot topics you can think of that?
You know, our biggest problem is always how to make a good motion.
Oh, man.
Amen.
Started out for them ahead of time.
No. We give them ideas, but we can't write. They need to formulate, you know, and it's very simple.
So
We
you,
used to have
I
one
think
that
it's-
would come in with it completely written out before the meeting. We're like, how'd you know this? They're not allowed.
Well, maybe
You
also.
can't write them a four and.
You can give, you
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
give them,
We,
a cheat sheet.
we
We did it.
yes, but you can, like, he had the exact motion, the
Findings
exact,
and
and the
everything.
findings and everything he was gonna say.
yeah, we have like,
That'd be me.
That'd be helpful.
Yeah, we gave them a cheat sheet,
Actually,
leave them reason.
we give them cheat sheets and then they're supposed to fill in the findings and
Yes.
this and that, you know, but they're not used sometimes. It is
No.
I make a motion, like, that's it, but yeah, so that would be a good one, just parliamentary procedure, I guess, but.
Anything else you can think of?
I think with what Ryan said, make a good motion. You're not familiar with your comp plan. You can't make a good
We
motion.
should have a hard time doing it.
So you gotta get people familiar with your comp plan and your ordinance. And a new person is not gonna have that exposure.
No.
So it may be 4 hours training, it may be 8. There's not enough training that you can give these folks. I mean, it's always good to have training out there, even for those who want training beyond what's mandatory.
Absolutely.
So a good commissioner or a board member, they're gonna seek training beyond what's the minimum.
And they're gonna go visit the site.
what we did is we created a
Sure.
training form with a bunch of links that they can go from like good resources if they wanna do online training themselves. And they fill out the form and submit it to us. If y'all wanna use ours, I can send you what Ryan made, or our Ryan made. Old County Ryan, but that's what we did, but yeah, like, I mean, we have a new comp plan and stuff, but one thing we do in our staff reports is we kind of try to feed our planning commission the information that they need, so like the
Yes.
portion of the zoning ordinance and all that, so that they don't have to like, I guess, figure it out as difficult.
Yes. Do you do staff reports?
Should I?
You think you'd be doing that tonight?
Yeah. I can send you a example.
Send me one. Don't open a volunteer that yet, but we'll look at it.
Okay.
We post ours on our website if you ever wanna steal any of ours. It's not stealing in government, is it?
No.
Online is free.
Hold on. Hold on. I look at your alls, Shelby County, I look at other people's stuff.
Oh, we do
a
too,
lot,
we
so-
look at
Oh,
other
yeah.
places.
Why reinvent the wheel?
Exactly.
Exactly.
You
I
don't
even
mind
call
saying
Ryan a
that,
lot.
right?
He probably gets tired of me calling him sometimes, but I call him a lot,
Oh, you don't call.
or not a lot,
I
You
do
don't call.
too.
No, you're fine.
but sometimes.
Any other staff? Jared? No?
I just want to thank everybody for coming. I know, Brian, alluded to earlier, everybody's busy, but I think this council is very valuable, trying to continue having forums, so we keep it active is very important. So thank you all for being here. And Brian, we always love having you. Hopefully you'll be at our board meeting next week.
I plan on it, thank you.
All right, we're done with staff updates, then we'll move on to our county quarterly updates, and let's just go ahead and start with Henry.
Well, we've been through the holidays thankfully, and, now that we are busy, but, I'm getting quite a few calls about property now, or people wanting to develop, and I think about what Brian says, is you gotta try to keep your green space, and it's so true. So we're trying to make sure that we, send the people in the right direction, try to keep them around the intersections and of the interstate and the exits and, try to keep our farmland, so that's always a fight. Some people want you to just build everything, some people don't want anything, so.
Is it more residential or?
No, this is commercial,
Really?
yes, ma'am. So, we got some good, bites right now anyway. That's about all I have.
Anything else? All right, how about all?
So we got our comprehensive plan approved. So I sent that to you, please trust, you have,
Okay.
the link to it. And then we already had our first reading of fiscal court for our data center ordinances, if anyone needs copying and pasting. Just editing, obviously, the zoning districts part, which I think some state app seeker or something already copied what we had anyway. And then, our second reading is on Tuesday, a week from today, for fiscal court level, and it has to go out to the city councils, for data center ordinance. And then looking forward for this year, updates that we're gonna try to do is, we have to update our manufactured home, regulations, so those, because right now they're a conditional use permit and the new state law, we can't do that anymore. So we're actually a few of us are going to the Manufactured Home Institute. Is anyone going to that thing today? At the fairgrounds? I recommend going in future years, and I can send Felicia the contact for the guy over there. It's really educational, and you get to walk inside. Louisville Metro went last year too. They have the home tours inside, so and they kind of give some like legislative policy updates. Which, speaking of that, do y'all track any of these legislative updates that are happening that affect planning
We
departments?
do
Okay.
kind of anything that's gonna affect, local government,
Okay,
and that usually includes some planning
okay,
things,
great.
so.
Okay, cool.
Well, I'll,
I'm like trying to, cause I'm new to Kentucky, so I'm like learning how things work at the state level here, cause every state does it differently. So I'm like trying to learn, where's a good place for the resources, because.
well, in the Kentucky chapter of the American Planning Association, they
Okay.
used to have a legislative contact, do you know if they still do?
think they do, but I don't know.
And they usually, like, they would, I guess Brian Davis would probably be your best bet.
Yeah,
He would know who leaves that, cause they used to send out a nice
Yeah.
document stating everything had to do with planning and zoning.
yeah, cause that's.
I haven't seen it in years, so.
And I think a lot of people like don't realize like how restricted we as county governments are with like even developments coming in. You know, somebody submits a preliminary subdivision plan and it follows all the rules, or planning commission basically has to approve it. It's a final decision, and that leaves local government restricted. It's like, you know, which I think are the only kind that does school capacity standards. So
Yeah,
that's like a method to kind of control the frequent or how quickly residential developments happen, but you know, the county really does have very little control because of
yeah,
state laws.
if they meet the requirements, you have to approve it.
Yeah, and state legislators have admitted to not realizing that, so, or understanding it, so that's part of the difficulty, I guess, but that's all the updates I have.
All right, thank you. See here. Looks like Keith jumped off. So Julia with Louisville Metro, I think you're online now. You have any updates from Metro?
I think you're muted there, Julia.
I thought I hit it, but I didn't. Thank you for having me. I'm here for Brian. So if you want him to do some extra stuff, you just tell me and I'll agree to it on his behalf. So whatever you need. So he asked for me to tell you that we are anticipating you all had mentioned data centers, releasing our data center draft next week. We also are releasing neighborhood housing in February. And then we are currently in the final stages of selecting a consultant for our land development code overhaul. And we anticipate that taking about 2 years, maybe a little bit longer. And that's all I've got.
All right, thank you. And then finally, the last county that's still here is me, Shelby County. And we haven't really done a lot this year yet for getting our feet wet, but the city has sent us an update to their zoning ordinance for food trucks. Fun. So we got 2 different classifications, just a food truck that's out, in the community, and then they also have they're creating a ordinance for a food truck park. So that there's an individual that wants to create on their property a spot where food trucks could set up and be housed. So we're reviewing that right now. We may having a hearing on that here in January and sending a recommendation back to the city of Shelbyville. And last year, I think reported in July, the city and the county both budgeted new comp plan updates, but they have been real aggressive on getting that done. I think now the elections it's coming up and they're a little nervous, so I think that's gonna be held off for a while. So we'll see. I mean, it's not like we're out of compliance. We're still well within our 5-year review, so. That's all I have at this point. Is there any questions or anything, comments on anything that was just brought up during the updates? Okay. Any announcements from KIPDA? Anything else to be brought up? Okay. I guess we need to do you got on here,
Oh, yeah.
RPC chair nominations?
Do we do nominations?
I'm trying to remember when we do that. Do we do the first meeting of the year?
Yes.
Okay. So, looks like we need to, elect a chair, vice chair.
I make a motion that we elect Ryan. I think that he's very well spoken and has done a great job with this. As long as he'll agree to it, I would.
I'm not retiring, so. Not yet. Couple more years. But yeah. So we have a motion to keep the slate of officers. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Who was vice chair? You
I
remember
think it was
Brian
Scott.
or Scott?
Yeah.
Okay.
We have a motion. We have a second. All right, all in favor, say aye. Opposed, hearing none, the officers will remain the same as previous years. All right, at this point, we have to allow for a public comment period. Anybody from the public that would like to speak or say anything, this is your opportunity to come forward. Seeing none and hearing none, we will close the public comment period. And our next item of business will be a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that one.
I'll say it.
Motion and a second, all in favor, say aye. We are adjourned, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for being here today.
Yeah, thanks, Rob.